Thanks for tuning in. It's time for the Cardinal Report, your 30-minute look at the world of North Central athletics. I'm Justin ZIPSER. This year we've taken a look at hoops and indoor track, and today we're shifting our focus to wrestling. In a few minutes, we're joined by head coach Kevin Bratland to catch us up on the squad as it gears up for the end of the season. But as we always do, let's first get caught up on the rest of the happenings in North Central athletics. Still under 500 in CCIW play, the men's basketball team took one step forward and then later in the week, one step back. On the road in Rock Island against Augustana on the 29th, the Cardinals surprised the 14th-ranked Vikings with their first road win of the season. Landon Gamble paced the offense with 22 points on 8 of 10 shooting, and the North Central defense combined for 8 steals, including 3 from Pat Rourke. The Cards end the regular season schedule with Augustana 1-1, with the road team winning each matchup. Then on Saturday, North Central hosted Carthage College, a team fighting for the top spot in the conference with Wheaton and Illinois Wesleyan. Despite the Redmen shooting only 32% and not hitting a field goal in the final 6.5 minutes of the game, NCC fell 54-49. Carthage got nearly 40% of its offense at the charity stripe, shooting 20 of 25. Chiefly responsible for putting the Redmen at the line were Gamble, Jack Burchett, and Brandon Williams. Each of those players fouled out in the second half. The men now sit at 3-6 and in the bottom half of the CCIW. The women's team also had its ups and downs the past week. At home against Augustana, North Central trailed by 5 at halftime. But on the strength of 10 second-half three-pointers, the Lady Cards made a nice cushion for the 97-85 victory. 5 Cardinals scored in double figures, including 13 apiece from Laren Shoemaker and Uzuri Williams. Skip ahead to Saturday, the women hosted the 10th-ranked Lady Reds of Carthage. With the game tied at 76 and only 44 seconds left, Carthage's leading scorer Stephanie Kuzmanek hit a jumper and drained 2 free throws to ice the game for the Lady Reds. North Central played spirited defense, forcing Carthage to 44% shooting, down from a season average of 52. The women's team also sits at 3-6 in the CCIW, but proving it can hang with the conference's best. Both teams have 5 games left to make a late push for the postseason CCIW tournament. Over to track and field, where both the men and women's squads are moving into their schedules after beginning the season at home in the Cardinal opener. The men bounced up 2 spots to number 5 in the nation in the weekly rankings from the United States Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association. In the Squig Converse Invite at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, North Central used its strength on the track to a second-place finish in the 8-team field. UW Lacrosse, the nation's top team, finished first. Distance runner Johnny Crane has been named the CCIW Athlete of the Week in consecutive weeks to open the season. After finishing second in the Cardinal opener, the women were victorious in the 7-team UW Whitewater Warhawk Classic. NCC got first-place efforts from pole vaulter Liz Composto and shot putter Ebony Stallworth, among others. The Cards are now ranked 14th in the nation. The wrestling team also had a big week, and when we return, head coach Kevin Bratland joins us to recap the Pete Willson Invite at Wheaton College and preview the stretch run of the season. Next on the Cardinal Report.
Yes, ready. Let's go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
We're back on the Cardinal Report. Thanks for joining us. Now on the set is wrestling head coach Kevin Bratland. Thank you for joining us, Kevin.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start a little bit with this Pete Willson Invite. This is a meet that you are just coming off of, and it's a big meet. 32 teams, a lot of good wrestlers in this meet. And as a team, finished 9th place overall. Correct. LAYTEN BINION, second in his weight class at 133. Give me kind of a general consensus of how this meet went for your wrestlers here.
Well, I think it's like you said, it's a huge tournament. There's a lot of good wrestlers from across the country. People that we don't see, people that we do see during the regular season. I thought overall we did a good job. I think placing in the top 10 at that tournament we beat actually a couple ranked teams, so that was pretty cool. And clearly, I always want to do better. And some of the guys I wanted to place that didn't, and guys that place you wanted to place higher, and things like that. But I have to say, I was pretty satisfied with how they wrestled. They went on and they wrestled hard, and some guys are wrestling above their seed, which is awesome. And So it was overall a good tournament for us and a good building point going into this kind of getting near the postseason here, and to give us some momentum going into the the regionals national tournament.
And we were talking a little bit off camera about the fact that you have about 10 or so days off as of right now, and then you have a dual meet with Elmhurst. Yep. CCIW championships, regionals. How do you gear up the squad, knowing that there's going to be a lot of important wrestling taking place over the next month or so?
Yeah, right now after the kind of the grind of the 2-day tournament of the Pete Willson, we've kind of stepped it back a little bit and had some fun the last couple of days, and we'll start picking it up and getting ready for recovery, and then build back up kind of for that last little grind of the season. And
I guess as a coach, that's really all you can ask for, that your wrestlers are ready. As Coach Bratland and I have been discussing, the Pete Willson Invitational is the meet that the Cardinals just got off of. Let's take a look back and see exactly how North Central did in this meet. Coach Kevin Bratland and his North Central squad in Wheaton for the Pete Willson Invitational, one of the most prestigious in Division III. 4 NCC wrestlers in contention the second day of the meet. Let's begin with Nick Santos in the 5th place match at 125. Facing off against Division II UW Parkside wrestler Renzel Darling. First period, Darling up 2-0 after the takedown. Skip ahead to the 3rd period, 3-1 Darling. Santos desperately trying to start his comeback with a shot, but Darling escapes. Santos, 6th place. At 133, nationally 9th-ranked LAYTEN BINION against Mount Union's Jeremy Border in the championship match. First period, Border gets one leg, about 10 seconds pass before he gets the second, and the 2 points for the takedown. It's now second period and 3-0 Border. Binion shoots, but it's Border who sprawls and gets the takedown, 5-zip. Same score, 3rd period, Binion trying to get back in it. He's successful with the takedown, but directly leads to a reversal. 7-2 Border gets the ride time point for a final of 8-2. Binion finishes second. North Central's Josh Tardy gunning for 3rd place, but at 157, match with John Carroll's Turner Gott. First period, Gott pushes forward with the heel pick, crawls through for the takedown. After a Tardy escape, it's 2-all in the second period. And then in the third, Tardy shucks to get behind and then holds on both legs while keeping his own feet in the circle. Tardy rides out the rest of the third to grab the 4-2 decision and 3rd place. So last year, 4-12 in dual meets. You've obviously escalated that up a bit this year, and at your current record, which is 7-6, heading into this Elmhurst dual meet. Last year, a lot of young wrestlers, a lot of inexperience, and I think we're kind of seeing the fruits of the labor where the young wrestlers last year kind of got experience against some good wrestlers, and here this year, it's really paying off for your team. Yeah,
we brought in, we're probably starting 5 freshmen right now, I think, 1 senior, and then 3 juniors in there, I believe. But I think we brought in new guys, that helped. I think last year we just struggled with team unity. We weren't quite as bonded. It wasn't really as much a family setting. It's more everybody's kind of out for themselves. And this year we have a great core group of guys and guys that are in there and want to get better and enjoy being in there and have goals. Well, I think that's the important thing.
Each of these teams have had new pieces. So what's been the difference individually wise between last season and this season? You mentioned that there's more unity this year, but really it's a whole new cast of characters again. What's been the difference, you think?
I don't know. It's hard. I suppose as a coach, if I knew from year to year, I'd try to keep doing the same thing. I think it's just the people's personalities that you bring in, and where you have people that are good leaders, and then you have also people that are buying into what the coaches are telling them. So I guess kind of answer your question is everybody believes that they can be good, and everybody buys into the program.
I guess last year and going into this year, you have a really good group of leaders that you just said, Nick Santos, Segal, and Dylan Mahler, guys that really you're counting on to kind of show the younger kids the way how to wrestle.
Yeah, those 3 guys have all kind of paid their dues, as freshmen and sophomores, and now as juniors and seniors, they're taking it upon themselves and coming up with big wins and are having great seasons. These guys are, going on 30 wins, I think, for at least for Mahler and Segal here, and I don't even know Santos' record, and he wrestles a lot of tough guys, but he's probably like at 25, something like that. But he's a great guy to have on our team and to start our duels off. He's pretty explosive and has done a great job.
Nick at 21 wins, by the way.
I'm sorry.
So now you're fine. Yeah, I was just Clearing that up. Before the season, you called those the three guys that we were talking about low maintenance wrestlers. What do you mean by that?
They're not. I guess they're not needy. You can count on them. They're responsible. They show up to practice every day. They don't complain while they're there. They're going to come to a meet ready to go and ready to wrestle hard and academically as well. They're not guys that you have to constantly holding their hand to class. They're going to go to class, and they're just guys that take care of business. And so it's important guys to have on the team.
And one of the newcomers this season is Josh Tardy at 157. He's coming from Harper Junior College out of Palatine and Naperville Central grad. He grew up in Naperville. What has he brought to the team?
Josh is awesome. His attitude, just his ability to wrestle. I mean, he's a great wrestler. So he's fit in with our other kind of, you say, cast of characters, and it's like he's almost like he's always been there. And I suppose being at Naperville Central, he has been around. Like, we knew who he was. We've seen him wrestle. He's worked out, but he's filled in and came in like he's been there for 2 years already.
There you go. We still have more with head coach Kevin Bratland quickly after the break here.
Hi, my name's CJ. A few years ago, my father became seriously ill. I did what I could do before he passed, but it took its toll. I lost my job, my house. I'm getting back on my feet, but I don't know when there'll be food on the table. How'd I do, CJ?
We could be twins.
Well, cousins, maybe.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
The Cardinal Report is back, and as promised, still talking wrestling with head coach Kevin Bratland. And we have dual meet coming up with Elmhurst, and this is a team that has been so good over the last, X amount of years. You have not beaten the Blue Jays in a dual meet since 2011. This year, after losing 4 All-Americans, the Blue Jays have kind of fallen on hard times this season, 1-10 in dual meets. So this is really a good chance for you to grab a win in a dual meet and maybe grab a win against an opponent that maybe you've had a little bit of struggles with in years past.
Yeah, when I first got to North Central, they were, they had just won the conference my first year there, and then we won it 3 years in a row, and then they won it 3 years in a row, and I think that's kind of somewhere roughly where we're at right now. But I think their record's a little bit deceiving, that they're not probably a 1-10 team. They've wrestled every team I think they've lost to has been ranked nationally, so it's kind of hard to say that they're not good. So we're going to go in there and we think they're going to be good. And so we'll go in there and battle, and it'd be nice, to get a win, and I guess to solidify that above 500 season, I think is kind of important.
I think that's a great point. As a team nationally, they finished second last year, so as such, obviously the next year you become a higher profile program and you face better and better teams, and I guess that's, like you said, a great point you made, why maybe the dual meet record is where it is right now. We talked to Joe Rao last year, and he said that it's always back and forth between these two programs. Is this the biggest rivalry that you guys have in the conference?
I think just because of past history, it is. There's 4 teams in the conferences, and all of them are extremely tough. So you can almost say there's a rivalry with any of them. So going into the CCIW, it's going to be pretty heated, highly contested. There's great teams over the 4 teams that are there are extremely tough. So it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out.
Absolutely. Last year, the wrestling team went through some growing pains with a host of new wrestlers. In this week's What's the Word, we look at how it's paid off this season as the team's young talent is leading a comeback season.
Yeah, I'd say right now we've got a pretty young team. We've got a lot of freshmen and sophomores and juniors in the lineup. We actually have only 1 senior right now, so they got a little bit in experience, but they've got a lot of talent and they're really hard workers, and they get along really well, which is important because they come into practice. They're real excited about wrestling every day. So that's been one of the bigger changes. I feel like last year we didn't have the excitement that we do this year, like the team bond. So that's probably the biggest difference from last year to this year.
It's awesome, I've wrestled on a couple of good teams in high school, and I love wrestling on a good team. I'd rather be wrestling on a good team than being a star. I'm a team player, so it helps a lot. It's good. We push each other in the room. We're all working out with each other. So I think me and a couple of guys coming in, some of the freshmen, we got some tough freshmen, so helping each other grind it out, and just our mentality this year is so much better than it has been in the past.
So, Coach, I think one of the cool things about the team is that you have wrestlers that have been great in your program, they graduate, they come back as grad assistants, and right now we have Andrew ZOBAC who's coming in and being a GA and kind of teaching guys the ropes. What has he brought to your coaching staff this season?
Well, clearly he's being an All-American wrestler, he's a great wrestler. So he has that presence in the room, and you always know that he's going to be a great workout partner. As far as like motivating guys, working one-on-one with guys, and I think that's the kind of the biggest role as a grad assistant for our program is having somebody in there that just kind of another wrestler, but just a high-level wrestler that's a step above the guys that are in the room, so they can kind of gives them something to strive for. So they know that, hey, if I can take down Andrew ZOBAC, or if I can hang with Andrew ZOBAC, then I'm right there in, with All-Americans and national champs.
Joe Norton and Adam Johnson, two other guys that you've had in the program after they come and graduate. Is that something that you ask these guys to do, or do they kind of do it on their own accord?
Yeah, it's kind of, we talk to them and see if it's something that they're interested in. I like having, we haven't always had somebody from North Central do it, but that's been the most consistent, and we've had the most success with that formula. Guys that have been through the program, so they know what's expected, and then they know when they coach, basically they start out coaching how they were coached. So they're already bought into the program. I don't have to convince them, that this is the way to do things, or this is how we do it, or so.
They know how it works. It's kind of ingrained after 4 years or so of being a player or a wrestler underneath your reign. So coming up here on CCIW Championships, regionals, as we talked about, what are you expecting out of some of your wrestlers come that time?
I think, just what we've been doing all season, I don't think we're not going to change the formula just because the postseason's here. We talk a lot about fighting and just going out and wrestling hard. Being pleased with your performance and your effort that you put forth. Not worrying so much about the outcome, the win and the loss, but are you happy with your performance, or are you not happy with your performance? Because there's matches that you can win and you can not feel great about the way that you wrestled. There's matches that you lose and you might feel great about your performance. So it's more of improving your performance, getting the most out of your potential, and then just stick to the formula. Outfight guys this postseason.
And we talked about Josh Tardy a little bit, how he's a newcomer to the team and how he's been excelling at 157. Another newcomer-ish, sort of, and we'll talk about him a little bit later in the show, but I want to get your thoughts on him, is LAYTEN BINION, who had, about 8 matches last season, had an injury, came back this season, is still technically a freshman, but has been fantastic, over 30 wins in the season. What can you tell us about what you've seen out of LAYTEN this year?
Yeah, I mean, for him, the sky's the limit. He's got the ability. It's just getting him out there and unleashing, I guess, his potential each and every match. He at times will wrestle to the ability of his opponent. So he'll beat a guy that's ranked nationally by the same score that he'll beat a guy that's 500. So it's kind of one of those things. And and I don't know if wrestlers always, especially young wrestlers, really know how good they are at first. They don't know what their potential is, and it's kind of a maturation process to finally, hey, when I am good, I can beat anybody. And that's kind of where he's at right now. Is once he figures out how good he is, the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah, we talked to Nick Santos last year, and he kind of said the same thing. Where early on in his career, he took matches obviously very seriously, but he didn't know how he would fare with some of these more experienced wrestlers, some of these better wrestlers in some cases. But really, it's all about confidence and being able to play into what you can do as a wrestler. Anything you can tell us about what you try to teach some of the new guys that kind of go along those lines of what Nick Santos kind of went through last season?
I think it's, it is a hard, I guess, process to kind of realize. At first maybe you're taking back seats to guys thinking that they're good. I think you go out and you wrestle everybody. You're pretty much the same, and you attack them and you stick to your offense. And if you expect somebody's going to be good, or you think that they're good, before you go out there, and I think you should respect people and respect their abilities, but I don't think that you should take a back seat to them and expect that you're going to get beaten. Don't worry so much about the winning and losing, but like I said before, just your performance.
Well, I think the team's looking very good under your guidance. Good luck the rest of the way, and thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Stick with the Cardinal Report. On the other side of this break, we're joined by a couple of wrestlers from this Renaissance program.
Today is Saturday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
We're back with more TCR. Wrestlers Nathan Segal and Dylan Mahler join us to close out this week's episode. Guys, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
We mentioned with Coach Bratland about how this team has made a lot of strides this season. Last year, again, 4 wins in dual meets. This year, you're up to 7 already, and the season's not even over yet. So we'll start with you, Dylan. What's been the key to success for you personally? You have 27 wins personally. What's been that key?
I think I'm building off of experience from last year, and also I've grown into my weight class a lot more. So like last year I was probably like 15 pounds lighter or so, and that makes a big difference just because like I try to wrestle with conditioning, and when I'm a lot stronger, then it helps, you know, just control the match and everything like that. But also it's just, I think that overall the team's attitude is good, and it's easy to go into practice and want to get better because that's what everyone else around you wants to do too.
Absolutely. So you're at 285. Nathan, you're at 149, and both you guys have combined for 15 pins, 8 for you, 7 for you, and you guys are 1 and 2 on the team in those stats respectively. What's been the key for you, Nathan? I know probably piggybacking off a little bit of what Dylan said, but just the key to getting those pins, getting these 30 wins here for you.
Really just working hard in the practice room. I mean, as Dylan said, it's really easy to go into practice every day when everyone else in the room is working hard for the same goal. Everyone's trying to get to that next step, get better each day. I mean, you don't want to go into practice with the wrong attitude, and it's just going to drag you down, and then that's going to drag you down with like in the matches and all that. So really just going in practice every day, having a good attitude.
That kind of leads me into my next question. Last year when Coach Bratland was on the Cardinal Report, he said how important it is to have the correct mindset when you're wrestling. For you, what's that good mindset that you want to be in before a match?
Well, I just go into every match like saying I'm the best, I'm going to win this no matter what. Even if who you're going up against, you have to have the right mentality to go into each match. No matter who you're going against, like you could be going against the best kid in the nation, you still have to go out there thinking that you're going to win no matter what.
And Dylan, you're not a senior per se, but you have had to go through that maturation process where you start out as a freshman, obviously you go to sophomore to junior levels. So we talked about with Coach Bratland, it's kind of different maybe for each wrestler. What's that maturation process been for you personally?
I guess it's humbling coming from high school and being really good, and then you start all over basically when you're a freshman. But because of the opportunities I had to start and everything, like you learn a lot faster what you're good at and what you're not good at, and what kind of situations you got to get yourself in. So I guess just overall match strategy is like the biggest thing that's like helped me to be able to do, because you kind of know like what you're good at and what you're not good at, but when you really start having like close matches, then that's where the difference gets made. So.
And guys like Josh Tardy, sorry to interrupt you, but I was going to say guys like Josh Tardy and LAYTEN BINION, who have come through basically as first-year wrestlers for the program, they've kind of almost had the ability to skip that, where they know what they're good at already. What have they brought to the table for you?
Well, they're really talented, obviously, but they're pretty consistent too with how they wrestle. I feel like they've wrestled for a long time as well. So like I only started in high school, but. And Josh did junior college too, but they're just they have really good workout partners around them and just good coaching and everything. So yeah, I guess that's what they bring. Cool.
133-pounder LAYTEN BINION is listed as a freshman on the North Central roster, and even though that's true eligibility-wise, he's still got some experience last season in Cardinal Red. In this week's Cardinal Corner, we look at how the early trial by fire has helped him excel this season.
Step into the wrestle room in Murner Fieldhouse on practice day, and you'll find a relaxed group of young wrestlers. With Nick Santos being the only senior on the team, much of this year's success is driven by underclassmen. And with 30 wins, freshman LAYTEN BINION is one of them, turning some heads in the conference.
Unlike high school, there are no easy matches. You can't take any match off. Every match you're going to wrestle, the kid's going to give you a fight, and it's going to be a grinder regardless of where he's from or what he's ranked or what his record is regardless. So it's a lot tougher than I thought. Pretty much that's what I learned from last year.
Last season, BINION wrestled in 8 matches, going 4-4. But after an early injury, the Indiana native sat out the rest of the year. But it wasn't a lost year. While on the shelf, he sparred in practice with then-senior Nathan Fitzenreiter. Fitzenreiter eventually won the 133-pound weight class at D3 Regionals for the 3rd time in his career. Not a bad practice partner.
he's a grinder. That's pretty much what it is.
And now BINION is carrying the torch at 133 in impressive fashion, placing second at the Pete Willson Invite and getting set for the end of the season.
Obviously, want to win them all. Don't want to lose another match. But pretty much, I just want to have a really good regional tournament going into nationals. First of all, I got to place top 3, which I'm very capable of doing. You just got to show up and wrestle that day. But that being said, yeah, I just want to have a good regional tournament, and so it can put a good taste in my mouth for nationals.
So Nathan, coming up on Elmhurst, this is a dual meet that I'm sure you kind of pencil down on the calendar each season when you're looking at the schedule. What do you think they bring to the table this season? I know you probably had a little bit of chance to look at them, but what do you think they bring to the table this year?
Well, I know at my weight I've probably a second-ranked kid in the nation, so I mean it's going to be a good match. See where I'm at this point in the season, going up against him. They have on paper, not paper, but like their record shows that they're not the best, but they have a really good team. Like they have some seniors in there that weren't in their lineup last year that are back. I mean, they're a tough team, and it's going to be a good test for us to go up against them.
And I would assume, as a very good wrestler yourself, you would like to get matches like these against very good wrestlers, so you can kind of gauge where you are heading into CCIW championships.
Yeah. It's going to be a good test for me.
Absolutely. So, heading into CCIW championships, obviously it's a grind throughout the season. Dylan, what do you want to work on as we head into the later portions of the season?
I guess just being able to wrestle against people with different styles, because that's one thing at heavyweight and just in wrestling in general, that like you can have some people that are super quick and can shoot really well, and then there's others that just want to slow everything down. So it's going to be about being consistent, like having a really good regional tournament and just sticking to my game plan, but being able to use that against a wide variety of different styles.
And you've had experience with this before, where you go through the CCIW championships, go through regionals, you're playing match after match after match against different types of wrestlers, different type of styles. How do you prepare for that, knowing that you could go against maybe a quicker person, more powerful person from match to match?
Well, I just try and take it one step at a time. Like, you got to think, just win the position, score points. That's pretty much the mentality. So pretty much like controlling ties and things like that, it slows guys down, and then you could start getting to your offense more. So going into the match, you got to think about just doing what you do and not really worry as much about the other guy. But that's why it's nice to be able to get matches against Elmhurst and like in conference and everything, because most of the teams in our conference are also in our region. So it's nice to get some like experience against them.
27 wins, 31 wins, respectively, for both of you guys. You've been very good this year. We appreciate you stopping by, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all the show we could fit in for this episode. We're back same time next week. We hope you'll join us then. In the meantime, be sure to stay up to date on everything North Central Athletics by heading over to northcentralcardinals.com. I'm Justin ZIPSER. Thanks for watching.